on this planet, inequality is the only equality that truly exists. Racism, sexism, ageism, socialism, or whichever ism you belong to, it exists. Inequality is the only equality. I don't care if you are poor and you're white and you are middle class or lower class, you will not have the same privileges, the same equality as someone who is super wealthy, upper class, that control what your life is going to consist of, control which freedoms and what privileges you are going to be entitled. The two will never be equal. The powerful are only powerful because the weaker of the two allow said organization, said person, said society to have power over them. But as far as being equal, how can you be equal with someone who outranks you? See, inequality is the only equality that we're going to have. Doesn't matter if it's racial or religious, economic or social, political. Doesn't even matter, because inequality is the only equality that we're going to have. Someone always has to dictate. Someone always has to control. Someone has to always push the suggestions in our heads. Doesn't matter if you are going back to old Rome with Colosseums, where the powerful stood high in the stands and dictated who lives and who dies. That's no different than here in America, where we give the power to big business to dictate to us what is in, what is not, who we should take our cues from, who should we look for to set the examples and the leads to tell us what is right and what is wrong. From presidencies to government, to congressmen, to senators, to the celebrities, to the chairman of the boards that market and research and create this view that what the products that they are giving us, the medication that they make, is somehow gives them more of a privilege and more of a right to dictate to us, because we give them that authorization to control us in some form, way, or fashion. And then we turn around and we fight with one another about who is right and who is wrong and who has more power over us and who we should and should not listen to, while we are feeding their egos, we are feeding their bank accounts, we are feeding their system of control. And yet we turn around and we argue about equality versus inequality, black versus white versus Asian versus Jewish versus Indian. But yet we are all in the same melting pot. You know, we have this thing against Muslims now, and blacks and Muslims are sitting back and we are debating why are they terrorists and why the white man is not a terrorist when they do the same exact evils to each other, and why is it okay for nations to bomb and nations to invade other countries, and it's nothing more than, you know, Operation Free Iraq. And it's not called tyranny. It's not called terrorism. It's not called sticking your nose in the next country's business. And we sit back and we with each other over who's right and who is wrong, but yet we are all in this together. And that is one of the biggest issues that we have as people. We're so concerned on equality versus inequality and who is right and who is wrong, that we don't even sit back and really realize that inequality has always been the only equality that we have ever had in our existence of life. Because we have always had someone dictate to us the rules. And as I said before, and I'm gonna say it again, how can you have equality with a person or a class of people which outrank us? A general is not on the same playing field as a private, as a lieutenant, as a sergeant. They are not on the same playing field. One outranks the other one, so therefore how can the two actually have equal rights? One sets the rules that dictates to the other what they do, while the other one who has more power has someone above them which dictates their rules. in their reach, in their realm of control, and so forth and so on. But to believe for 1 second that we actually have any type of form of equality is asinine, because equality is something that only exists here in our mind. Inequality is something that exists on the realm that you and I live on. And that's all I have to say about that. May you all have a beautiful day on this December 20th, 2015. Time check is 9:56 a.m. You all have a wonderful day.